Hello my dear students. As we already started with the module 4, it is design of a three-phase induction motor. In the previous session we have already discussed about the output equation of a three-phase induction motor, and go through your syllabus also. According to that syllabus only I am going to cover the topics here. So in today's session we'll discuss it on two more bits. It is, so one, it is main dimensions of a stator, and second one, it is the design of a stator slots as well as the windings here. Okay, let me start with the main dimensions of a stator. See here in the dimensions, in the previous session also I have given brief introduction about this one. So here what is there, this is the basic construction of this induction motor. It is the one, it consists of two parts. It is there, one, it is the stationary part, that is now going to be called it as a stator, and one more will be the rotating part of this machine. It is going to be called it as a rotor here, and between this stator as well as the rotor, the small gap it is there, that is going to be called it as what, air gap it is. So next thing it is, see, this is the nothing but the diameter of this armature, or nothing but this stator bore it is there. This is nothing but this is the main dimensions, means the two important considerations we are going to do. The first thing it is, the main dimension means the first one, armature diameter or the stator bore diameter. Next one more will be, this is the armature core length. So these are going to be considered as the main dimensions of the rotating machines it is. So getting my point? So next we'll move on to the in this only. So as we already discussed with the output equation of an induction motor. So in that output equation, you might have observed that one. So the output equation means what? It will be given by output equation Q, that will be equal to C naught D square L NS into KW it is there. So in that output equation you are going to be observe the product, that is D square L it is there. Nothing but these are the two main dimensions. One, it is the diameter as well as the armature core length it is there. The product of this D square L, it is going to be determined from what? Input kVA as well as the specific electric and magnetic loadings it is. Getting my point? From the output equation, the product D square L, it is going to be determined from what factors? From the input kVA as well as the specific electrical and magnetic loadings here. The specific electric loading means it is nothing but the total ampere conductors around the periphery of the armature. That is represented by what? AC. AC stands for ampere conductors. Then magnetic loading, it is nothing but the total flux density, nothing but average flux density, that is represented by B average. Getting my point? From these factors, input kVA and specific electric and magnetic loadings, the product D square L it is going to be determined. Getting my point? From this product it is there, D square L is the product it is there. The separation of this D and L, the separation of this from this product D and L from the product D square L, it will be depends upon the ratio of what? L divided by tau it is there. So as I already previously discussed about this tau, it is very important. That is nothing but the pole pitch here. So what is pole pitch? Pole pitch, it is nothing but the peripheral distance between the centers of two adjacent poles in a machines here. Getting my point? So the peripheral speed, that depends upon the ratio of L divided by tau it is there, where tau it represents what? Pole pitch it is. What is pole pitch? Pole pitch, it is nothing but the peripheral distance between the centers of two adjacent poles in a machine it is. Nothing but the distance it is going to be measured in terms of what? Armature slots or armature conductors, which are going to be comes between two adjacent pole centers. That is the reason divided by P, number of poles I had taken here. So this is the area, pi into D divided by P. So this is going to be called it as a pole pitch. Keep it in mind. This formula, it is very important. Tau, it is nothing but the pole pitch, that will be given by what? Pi D divided by P it is. Getting my point? So next thing it is, so that is the reason this ratio we are going to be taking here, that is L divided by tau. The ratio of core length to the pole pitch, L divided by tau, for a various design features it is going to be listed here. Getting my point? First thing it is, this while designing an induction motor, so these are the standard values, you need to keep it in a mind. First factor, what it is there, for a minimum cost of a three-phase induction machine, the ratio of this L divided by tau should lies in the range between what? 1.5 to 2 here. For good power factors, so this ratio L divided by tau will be 1.02, 1.25 it is. For good efficiency, L divided by tau will be 1.5. For a good overall design, it should be 1 here. So while solving the problems, you need to remember all these standard values it says. Okay, in some problems, whether they are going to be mentioned it, or if it is not going to be mentioned, means you should remember these factors. So these are the standards you need to remember here. For a best power factor, so this will be given by, for a best power factor, the tau will be equal to root of 0.18 L it is there. So these things you should keep it in a mind here. Getting my point? So next thing it is, one more thing it is, the diameter of stator bore, that is capital D, and hence as well as this is all about only about diameter of the stator. Then what about the diameter of the rotor? So those stator diameter as well as the rotor diameter, that is limited by the peripheral speed it is there. That is going to be limited by what? Peripheral speed. Then what is the meaning of this peripheral speed? Peripheral speed, it is nothing but the speed at the point in the circumference, nothing but the periphery of the rotor here, nothing but the speed at the point in the circumference moves per second it is. Getting my point? This peripheral speed, it is going to be represented by VA it is, that is representation of the peripheral speed. And this value, it is also for a normal design of an induction machine, the limiting value of this peripheral speed will be 30 meter per second it is there. Next thing it is, for in case of a standard construction, this peripheral speed, nothing but the VA, that will be used up to what? 60 meter per second it is there. And next thing it is special rotor construction it is there. Special rotor construction means rotor construction, whether it is a squirrel cage induction rotor it is there, one more it is slip ring rotor it is there. So in case of a special rotor construction, this peripheral speed should be maintained up to what? 75 meter per second it is there. So getting my point? So this is all about what it is. So this is all about the stator. So what we have discussed, this is all about the first thing it is, the main dimensions we have discussed. In that only the stator, the product, everything we have considered with respect to the ratio L divided by tau ratio. Okay, so next one more important bit of this second topic, it is design of a stator slots as well as the stator windings it is. Getting my point? The stator slots as well as the windings. The first thing we'll slate before proceeding to the stator slots, first we'll discuss about the stator windings here. The stator windings means, for in case of a small motors, for small motors in the rating up to 5 HP it is there, 1 horsepower will be equal to 1 HP will be equal to 746 watt it is. For small motors up to 5 HP, so single layer windings are going to be used here. The single layer windings means which are those? Like a mesh winding, concentric windings, etc. are going to be used here. Then what about this mesh winding? The mesh winding, it is nothing but the, this is also one kind of a AC armature winding it is. So this is the AC mesh winding, it is nothing but the AC armature winding. Here the coil span should be odd itself here, nothing but, if you don't get confused much with these things, the mesh winding in the sense that it usually consists of, this winding will be consist of a long as well as the short conductors. The connection it is going to be made between the long and short conductors only. So that is going to be called it as what? Mesh winding. Then what about this concentric winding? The concentric winding in the sense that the windings here, concentric windings means the layers of the winding will be layers of the windings one over the other, nothing but lies one over the other here. So for example, in case of a transformer, let me consider about the transformer here. The transformer LV winding, it is going to be wound over the core it is there, is it right? LV winding will be nearest to the core, nothing but wound over the core, and above this layer only HV winding it is going to be wound, HV winding will be there here. That is the reason the concentric windings, it is nothing but the layers of the winding will be lies one over the other it is. So these concentric windings are going to be used where the number of slots on the armature will be equal to the number of poles here. So when we are going to be use this concentric type of windings, when in the sense that the concentric windings are going to be used where number of slots on the armature will be equal to the number of poles here. So in that case, we are going to be use concentric winding. I hope you are getting the difference between this mesh winding as well as the concentric winding here. So next thing it is, in case of for large capacity machine, for up to 5 HP, single layer we have used. In case of for large capacity machines, double layer windings we are going to be prefer here. Double layer windings means, as we already studied, very much familiar with these windings, and other lap winding or wave windings are going to be used here. Okay, next we'll move on to next. See here. And one more thing, it is how these windings are going to be connected. So first we have discussed based on the size of the machine. For a smaller rating, for a smaller motor up to 5 HP, single layer windings. For a large capacity machines, double layer windings we have preferred. So this is all about the windings based on the size of the machine itself. Then how these windings are going to be connected? So the three phases of the winding can be connected in either which fashion? Either connected in the star fashion or it will be in the delta fashion, depending upon the starting methods here. The starting methods means what I told here, based on the input supply, the induction motors are going to be classified. So first one, it is the single phase winding, single phase induction motors, and second one what I told you, three phase induction motors. So single phase single phase induction motors are not self starting. That is the reason we need of a different kinds of starters over there. The starting methods means we making use of a different starting arrangements. So which are those methods? In the sense that the first one, it is armature, what it is, auto transformer starter it is there, star delta starter it is there, or direct online starter it is there. So different kinds of starters we are going to be use and start the machines itself. Is it right? So here also same thing. The three phases of the windings can be whether it is going to be connected in either in a star fashion or it is in a delta fashion, but it will be depending upon the connection of the winding. It will be depends on which method, that will be depends upon the starting methods here. So we have a different two kinds of rotors. It is the basic construction of this rotor. So there are two rotors are there. One, it is what? Squirrel cage rotor. Squirrel cage rotor means here the motor, it is going to be usually started by star delta starter. So this squirrel cage induction motor, it is usually started by which starter? That is star delta starter. Therefore their stator, it is going to be connected in which manner? Delta fashion. Stator winding of this induction motor will be connected in the delta fashion. Next, one more induction motor it is there based on the rotor construction only, slip ring induction rotor. That is also going to be called it as a wound rotor. These motors are started by, but here what will be there? Slip rings will be there. There will be another arrangement for adding the external resistance in the rotor circuit. Is it right? I hope you are familiar with this construction of the slip ring induction rotor, but in your syllabus it is not there. Just in already all these things we already studied in the 4th semester itself in the machine subject. So here these motors are going to be started by putting the or adding the external resistance in the rotor circuit itself. So that is therefore the stator can be, that is the reason, therefore the stator can be connected either in a star or a delta fashion. It is there. Keep it in a mind, don't get confused here. Based on the rotor construction, there are two types it is there. One, it is a squirrel cage, and the second thing, it is slip ring induction rotor it is there. In case of a squirrel cage induction rotor, the motors are usually the winding connections. It really depends upon the starting methods here. So in case of a squirrel cage rotor, the motor, it is going to be usually started with the help of the which kind of a starter? That is star delta starter. Therefore their stator will be connected in delta fashion. But in case of a slip ring induction rotor, these motors are going to be started by adding external resistance in the rotor circuit. Therefore the stator can be connected either in a star or a delta fashion. It is getting my point. I hope this is clear about the stator windings. Next we'll move on to the number of turns per phase. In where we are studying? In the stator part only. In the stator part, how many number of turns will be there per phase we are going to be studying now. See here. So next thing, it is the turns per phase. The turns per phase means we know the EMF induced in the induction motor it is there. What is the formula for EMF induced per phase? Per phase means, because for phase voltage only we'll take it here, but in this in which part? In the stator part. That is represented as ES it is. EMF induced per phase in a stator it is there. That is representation of ES. So this will be given by what? 4.44 F pi m into kW into Ts it is there. From this EMF induced in an induction motor, we can calculate what? Turns per phase it is there. In which part? Stator part it is there. That is represented as a Ts here. So from this equation, we can calculate Ts now. Ts will be equal to Es divided by 4.44 F pi m into kW. But in the problems, they are going to be mentioned at frequency they will give, as well as winding factor also they will give, and EMF also they will give. Then what about this flux, maximum flux? This we will get from the equation of the specific magnetic loading here. The specific magnetic loading, it is nothing but the average flux density. We know the formula already. We have discussed in the previous session. B average is equal to P pi divided by pi into D into L here. From this equation we can calculate the flux, right? This flux P pi will be equal to B average into pi into DL divided by P here. So that only we can, instead of this pi, by using this equation we can calculate the flux here. So that we'll get the stator turns per phase using this equation, Es divided by 4.44 F pi m into kW. So this is what turns per phase in a stator it is. Next we'll move on to stator conductors. So stator conductors. Conductors means what? The current will be flowing through these conductors only. That is the reason I had taken the current density. In which part? Stator part. The current density of the stator winding, it is going to be for the standard design, the current density of the stator winding, it is going to be usually lies in the range between what? 3 to 5 ampere per millimeter square. Keep it in a mind. So this is very important. The current density, it is represented by delta. In which part we are studying? Stator part. That is the reason current density is delta. Yes, it is current density in the stator winding. So light will be lies in the range of what? 3 to 5 ampere per millimeter square. Okay, we know that. How we are going to be calculate this one means, we know that the kVA rating of the three-phase machine, kVA rating means it is represented by Q. So this will be equal to 3 ES IS into 10 raised to minus 3, or else we can represent it as a 3 EPH IPH into 10 raised to minus 3 it is there. Per phase, pH in the sense that phase we are going to be represent, but just for the sake of in the stator part we are designing part we are doing now, that is the reason I represented as a S here, ES IS, nothing but stator induced EMF per phase as well as the current, stator current here. Getting my point? Yes, it is the stator phase voltage, IS it is nothing but the stator phase current it is there. From this equation I can calculate the how much amount of the current which is flowing through this stator conductors only. So now IS will be equal to what? How will write this equation? So how will write this equation? Is is equal to Q from this one. Is is equal to Q divided by 3 ES into 10 raised to minus 3 it is. Okay, the current density, let us take a current density. Current density means what? Current density will be the ratio of current per unit area it is it right? So delta S is equal to current means I divided by area A it is. Getting the current density in the stator conductor represented as a delta S, and area of this cross section of a stator conductor it is represented by AS it is. DS it is nothing but the diameter of a stator conductors here. So from this equation we know the formula for current density also. The current density means, the current density is nothing but, will represent it as a, see here, the current density delta S will be equal to current per unit area. But why I had taken here AS representation for what purpose? Since the stator part designing we are doing here. So delta S will be equal to IS divided by AS it is. From above equation we can calculate the area of the conductor. So area of the stator conductor AS will be equal to IS divided by delta S it is there. So next we'll move on to, so the already started with this bit it is, that is the title it is design of a stator slots as well as the windings. The stator windings as well as the turns per phase and the conductors also we have discussed. Then what is remaining now? That is stator slots here. The slots in the sense that different types of slots are used in an induction motor. So first one it is, there are two types of slots we are going to be used. In the slots only the stator conductors will be placed. Getting my point? So keep it in mind, the stator part, rotor part, each part will be, stator part will also be consist of a stator slots. In that stator slots only stator conductors will be there. Getting my point? Like that rotor also there, rotor slots will be there. In that slots only rotor conductors will be there. Getting my point? So this is the housing slot, it is nothing but the housing for the conductors. Getting my point? The different types of the slots are going to be used in an induction motor. The first one, it is open slot, and second one, it is semi-enclosed slots. The shape of the slots, either it is open or a semi-open, the shape of the slots has an important effect upon the operating performance of a motor, as well as the problem of installing these kinds of windings here. Getting my point? It will impact, more effect will be there on the operating performance of the motor here. Operating performance in the sense that voltage regulation, efficiency. So these are the performance parameters. Getting my point? That is the reason the shape of this kind of slots, this is very important here. So how many types are there? That is open slots, and one more, it is semi-enclosed slots here. So this diagram, it indicates the slots here. So this just one slot, nothing but there is some space between the two slots, that is going to be called it as a tooth. So in this slot only, the conductors will be placed here. Getting my point? The slot, it is nothing but the placing or a housing or the space for accommodation of the conductors here. Getting my point? So the choosing of the stator slots will be done on the basis of these factors. One, it is a tooth pulsation loss. Second one, it is leakage reactance. Third one, it is ventilation. And the fourth one will be magnetization current. And last one, iron loss, as well as the cost here. The choosing of the stator slots will be depends upon these parameters itself. Getting? So next thing it is, so we are discussing about the stator slots here, right? Then what is slot pitch? Slot pitch, it is nothing but what? Slot pitch means what? Slot pitch, it will be the ratio of what? Gap surface to the total number of stator slots here. That is represented here. See here. The slot pitch, it will be the ratio of a gap, nothing but a gap surface, it is nothing but air gap between the stator as well as the rotor. How much surface area it is there, that will be represented by pi into d here. So divided by total number of stator slots, that is stator slots represented by SS here. Keep it in a mind, there are two pitches we have discussed. One, it is pole pitch. Pole pitch in the sense that pi d divided by p here. Pi in the sense that number of poles we have taken there. Here slot pitch in the sense that number of slots, pi d divided by, just we have taken instead of poles we have taken the slots here, that is stator slots. So stator slot pitch will be represented by YSS. SS represents the stator slots. Pitch in the sense that that's Y, it will represent the YSS. Stator slot pitch will be the ratio of gap surface to the total number of stator slots it is there. That will be the ratio of what? Don't get confused. Pole pitch means pi d divided by number of poles. Stator slot pitch means pi d divided by number of slots will be there. Getting? This is the standard rating of this one. Standard consideration for this one, it is the slot pitch for open type slots. For open type slots, the slot pitch will be lies in the range from 15 to 25 mm here. So next thing, it is for semi-enclosed slots, less than 15 mm will be there. So keep it in mind. So these are the standard things while solving the problems. These are very important considerations. Okay. From this ratio, we can calculate now stator slots. Stator slots SS will be equal to what? SS will be equal to pi d divided by YSS here. So that is the thing here. Next thing, it is total number of stator conductors. Conductors means represented by a Z here. So in which part? Stator part. That is the why representation ZS I had taken here. How we'll calculate this total number of stator conductors means it will be the product of number of phases into the conductors per phase here. So how many number of phases? This is the 3-phase induction motor. So that is the number of phases will be 3 here. The conductors per phase, in each phase 2 conductors will be there. That is 2 number of turns I had taken here. In the conductors, how many number of turns will be there? Stator turns TS. 3 into 2 into TS will be, ZS will be, it will give the 6 TS it is. So TS, it is nothing but what? Turns per phase. Stator turns per phase here. Now we can calculate now conductors per slot. Just now we have calculated the total number of stator conductors, but now in each slot how many conductors will be there? Conductors per slot, it will be represented by what? ZSS. Don't get confused. This will be the total number of conductors will be represented as a ZS, that will be equal to 6 TS. But in one conductor, but in one slot, how many conductors are there? So that is represented by what? ZSS. Nothing but conductors per stator slots. SS means stator slots here. So this will be the ratio of what? Total stator conductors to the number of stator slots. Total stator conductors means how many there? 6 TS there, divided by number of stator slots, that is represented by SS will be there. So this ZSS, it is nothing but conductors per stator slots. This will be equal to 6 TS divided by SS here. Getting my point? So this is all about what? Stator slots it is. So next, one more important formula it is there, length of mean term. Till now we have discussed about the main dimensions only, that is one diameter it is over. Then what about length? It is remaining, right? Length of the armature core. So that will be for voltages up to 650 volt, this LMT, length of mean turn. M stands for mean and T stands for the turn of this one, length. This will be equal to 2L plus 2.3 tau plus 0.24. It is, keep it in a mind while solving the problem. This formula it is very important here. So this is all about what? Two bits we have discussed. One, it is the main dimensions. Main dimensions means the diameter of the stator bore, and one more it is the length of the armature core it is. So next thing it is what we have discussed. One more bit it is design of a stator slots as well as the windings. Okay, I hope this is clear to all of you. So thank you.